In the early morning, New York is a peaceful place. The voices of the night are gone, and only a few people are on the streets. A small boy, perhaps, and the inevitable milkman. But this was an unusual milkman, as Harry Bodine, stool pigeon, and petty racketeer was soon to find out.
Harry!
Bodine was no concern of mine. In fact, that night I knew nothing about it. My concern was arranging a Florida vacation with an old friend. Had to get us in Miami in time for 18 holes before... Hold it a minute, somebody at the gate. Why, hello there. Haven't you got the wrong house? You sure this is for me? You're right, it is. Come on in. Excuse me. Pete, I'm sorry, I have to take a rain check. Something just came up. Yes, I know. Sure, I'll call you. Will you come in and take a seat? You know, it says in here your name is Robbie. My name is Roy Markham. Who brought you here? You don't know? I see, you don't want to tell me, huh? Would you mind telling me your name? Your last name? Well, how old are you? That's no secret, is it? 5. Did someone tell you not to talk to me? You mean you can't talk? Or you just don't want to? Can you write? Do you know what's in this note? You mind if I look in here? Huh? Well, I'm glad you brought these. I'm afraid mine will be a little too big for you. There's clearly something seriously wrong with the youngster. I got medical advice, and for the time being, we installed a nurse.
Pretty soft, I'd say. Breakfast in bed, Mr. Markham's silk robe, picture book to look at. Bet you never had it this good at home. Are you hungry? Well, do the best you can. Now, where are your pajamas? Well, now, that's a fine place to keep pajamas. I'll have to take them down and iron them out. In the meantime, you eat something, young man.
Okay, Gus. Yeah, there's a story in it. I'll see you get it. Thanks a lot. I just spoke to a newspaper friend of mine. He's checked with the police, and they say there hasn't been a 5-year-old child reported missing all week. How is he?
Well, he'll be fine when we can get some food down him. The poor little guy's starved, and he won't admit it.
Won't or can't?
Well, Dr. Boynton said his vocal cords are perfectly normal.
And what's the matter?
Well, something scared the daylight out of him. The doctor thinks he's gone into a kind of defensive shell, so he won't have to talk about whatever happened. If we could only find out who he is.
I think I can. From this.
His pajamas?
Yes, I noticed something last night. A laundry mark. Here. I knew very little about laundry marks, but I knew where people were who did. The police crime lab.
Do you have any idea how many laundry marks we have classified here in the police department?
No, I haven't given it much thought.
69,000. With about 20 new ones coming in every day. And that's just here in New York. But you want bar 5X. There's 1, 2, 4. Here you are, bar 5X. That's Barton's Laundromat at 1121 East 77th Street. Maybe I can save you a trip.
We found that the laundry mark was that of a Mrs. Arnold Carson. The name rang a bell. A bell. In my ears, it sounded like Big Ben. Arnold Carson had saved my life, as his wife's note said. What had been a puzzle now became something of a crusade.
Are you looking for an apartment?
No. I'm looking for Mrs. Carson.
You a friend or a policeman?
A friend.
Well, you're one day too late, friend. She cleared out last night.
Did she leave any forwarding address?
No. But that's about the only thing she didn't leave. Take a look.
She skedaddled with just what she had on her back.
Well, maybe I can find her for you.
Well, don't expect any help from me. Like I told the police, I don't know where she went, I don't know where she came from, I don't even know where she worked. Except that it was from 8 to 3 at night. Probably she's a waitress somewhere.
Well, who took care of Robbie while she was gone?
I did. She paid me $2 to sleep on the couch till she came home. A funny thing, she always came on the dot of 3. Could that mean anything?
Well, it could mean she always took the same bus home.
Yeah, that figures. Nice little kid, Robbie. Only trouble we ever had was on account of them ballads.
What do you mean, ballads?
Oh, you know, lovelorn maidens and handsome princes. His favorite was about a girl named Barbara Allen. She used to sing it to him before she went to work. And he was always trying to get me to sing them, too. Last time I sung solo, it broke the plate glass window at the Oddfellows Hall.
He's come to the apartment?
What is it?
Swizzle stick used for stirring drinks.
Oh, I never saw him before.
There must be a dozen here.
The Sad Cafe.
The Sad Cafe. Wasn't much of a lead, but it was all there was. And Robbie's mother had to be found.
Mrs. Arnold Carson. Brown hair and blue eyes. Late 20s with a 5-year-old kid. Excuse me. Give them table number 5. Doesn't ring any bells, Mr. Markham.
No brunettes ever worked here?
Not under the name of Carson, they haven't. You want me to ask around?
I'd appreciate it. It's important I find her.
In Scarlet Town, where I was born, there was a fair maid dwelling, made every youth cry well away. Her name was Barbara Allen. All in the merry month of May, when green buds they were swelling, young Jemmy Grove on his deathbed lay, for love of Barbara Allen.
Blue eyes, brown hair, in her 20s.
She on her
Only trouble is, her name's Mary Stewart.
You sure?
I make out a check to her every week.
By him, and so repented of the day when she did e'er deny him.
Look, why not get it firsthand? She's a nice, friendly girl. Here, I'll take you to a table.
And shun the fault I fell in. Henceforth take warning of the fall of cruel Barbara Allen.
That was very nice.
Thank you.
May I buy you a drink?
Some coffee if you'd like.
One coffee and a beer. You know who I am?
No.
My name is Roy Markham.
That's a nice name.
Means nothing to you?
Should it?
What about Robbie?
Robbie?
Yes, the child you sing Barbara Allen to at bedtime.
Is this some new kind of pass, Mr. Markham?
And you're really not Mrs. Arnold Carson?
I'm Mary Stewart, and I think you'd better drink my coffee when it comes.
Just a moment, please. If you should meet Mrs. Carson, would you give her a message for me?
But I don't know Mrs. Carson.
Tell her I'm much too busy to keep Robbie.
But, Mr. Markham,
That unless she picks him up tonight, I'm taking him to the police station tomorrow morning. Have you got that?
Yes, but
Thank I went straight home. I'd baited a lot of traps. The problem was to see which one would nab an extremely determined criminal. Turn around slowly. The trap was sprung, and it caught not a criminal, but a mother who loved her son and was desperate for his safety.
But I didn't dare call the police. Gang killing, and Robbie a witness, probably the only witness. I just didn't know what to do until I remembered what close friends you and Arnold were in the war.
Well, why didn't you come with Robbie and tell me your story?
I was afraid you'd make me go to the police.
Why didn't you take your son and get out of the city and hide somewhere?
We went through some pretty rough times after Arnold died. And then a break. The job at the Sad Cafe. Radio and TV offers. A chance to record. I just couldn't bring myself to run away from all that. But I guess I'll have to now, since you can't help.
Who said I couldn't help?
You did. At the cafe, you said that...
That was just bluff, Mrs. Carson, to make you show your hand. And that unlocked front door is to make it easier for you. Of course I'll help you.
And you'll keep Robbie.
As long as you like. Who is it?
Police officers, Mr. Markham.
I thought you boys would be around.
That you saw me at the cafe.
Yes, but I wasn't sure whether you were there on pleasure or duty.
Duty, Mr. Markham, same as now. Would you, mind letting us in?
What for?
We'd kind of like to talk to Mrs. Carson. The easy way if we can, but we'll get a warrant if you insist.
All right. Come in.
Thank you.
Mrs. Carson, this is,
Lieutenant Gromby, 23rd Precinct.
How do you do?
And this is Emil Pankey, the Mayor's Racket Committee.
what do you want to talk to her about?
First, what's your business with her?
Business, Lieutenant? Can't you tell the difference between business and romance?
You don't romance ladies, Mr. Markham, by checking into their laundry box. Yeah, that's how we got onto you, through the crime lab. And through you, we find Mrs. Carson. And through her, maybe we find out who killed Harry Bodine. What do you know about him, Mrs. Carson?
I read about his death in the papers.
And that's why you cleared out of your apartment, because you read about it in the papers. Mrs. Carson, I suggest you cleared out because you saw Harry Bodine shot.
No, I didn't see anything.
Then it has to be the kid, Lieutenant.
Well, Mrs. Carson?
Yes, Robbie saw it.
Where do you have him? Where's he hidden? What would you say if I had him, Panky? I know your reputation, Markham. You'll be the last one to...
Robbie, what are you doing out of bed? Darling, you'll catch cold running around like that. He's shaking all over. Oh, it's all right. Nobody's going to hurt you.
Robbie. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Markham. Do you want me to put him back to bed?
No, I'll leave him here for a few minutes.
All right, sir.
Well, Lieutenant, what now?
Looks like we'll have to take him down to the station.
Why?
Statement from the boy, and we've got some pictures we'd like to show him.
Well, he could bring the pictures over here tomorrow. And as far as the statement is concerned, he hasn't uttered a word in 24 hours. How's that again? He's in some sort of emotional shock. He is? And how do you know he saw Bodine killed? Because he ran to his mother yesterday morning crying that he saw a milkman shoot somebody.
A fake milkman, Mr. Markham. The real one was tied up in the back of the truck.
Fake milkman or not, he saw what happened, so we have to take him in. Look, why don't you leave a man on guard outside and leave the boy here? He's in bad enough shape now. Do you want to take a chance on making it any worse?
Well, I'd have a fine time explaining something like that to my wife, wouldn't I? We'll be back tomorrow, Mrs. Carson.
Good night, Lieutenant.
Good night.
Good night, Lieutenant Gromby. Pleasure meeting you, Mr. Panky. Well, the fat's in the fire now, but keeping Robbie's whereabouts a secret.
It's funny, Mr. Markham, but with you helping now, I feel perfectly safe.
Mommy?
Yes?
He spoke.
Is the milkman gone?
Oh, milkmen. Those were policemen, silly.
Gone?
Yes, they're gone. And it's time you were gone to bed.
Just a minute. Robbie? What did you mean by milkman? No, it's very important if you know anything at all about those...
Mr. Markham! Mr. Markham! Mr. Markham!
What's the matter?
Mr. Markham, I thought I heard a sound in here, and when I came in, there was a man leaning against the window. He must have been standing on a trash can or a barrel or something. When I screamed, he ran.
Robbie's mother was certain that going to the police the easy way would be the worst thing that could happen to the boy. So I had to dream up something else. I could only hope it would work. Anyone follow you?
I couldn't tell, but the cab driver seems to think so.
We don't have much time. First thing to do is put Robbie to bed. Give me your hat.
Isn't this a little far-fetched?
That's the beauty of it. It's so far-fetched you'd think it was planned. You'd think that broken window frightened you and Robbie out of the house. You came down here to hide until morning.
And who's this he, Mr. Markham?
Let's find out, shall we? Get behind the screen. I've already prepared the recording. You better sit down. I may have a long wait.
The fault I fell in, henceforth take warning of the fall of cruel Barbara Allen.
The kid's not here, Panky. Now reach. Drop your gun. Now turn around and face the wall. Better call the police.
It won't be necessary, Mrs. Carson. What's going on here?
Go ahead, Brownie, plug him.
Get gun on the floor, Markham. Now.
Well, if you won't, I will. They know too much.
Hold it. We need him to get to the kid.
I say we kill them both now and worry about the kid later.
And I say no. We're gonna need one or the other to spring the kid from wherever he's hiding. Where are you?
Put your hands up, Lieutenant. So the story ended where so much of it had happened, at the Sad Cafe. When it was all sorted out, we found that Bodine was double-crossing Panky, a racketeer who had no connection whatever with the mayor's committee, except as a possible witness. Lieutenant Gromby, well, there's always a bad one, even in the best barrel of apples. Mary Stewart, she was singing her last nightclub ballad. Recording and TV companies had latched on, and she was on her way.
Farewell, she said.
And a couple of her best boyfriends were at hand to wish her luck.
And shun the fault I fell in. Henceforth take warning of the fall of cruel Barbara Allen.
Can sometimes be a quiet city, as it was this night. But it was pleasant just to say hello to a young friend of mine.
Hey, Mr. Markham.
Oh, hiya, Billy.
I got your camera fixed, Mr. Markham. If I get off early, I'll bring it over.
I'll be in, and thanks.
Okay.
The end of a pleasant day. An afternoon spent browsing in old and new bookstores. A leisurely dinner at a good restaurant, a long walk home. All I had to worry about was the choice of a book with which to read myself to sleep. Or so I thought. Miss Amory. Ellen? Ellen.
This can be easy, Mr. Markham, or very painful.
MARKHAM, starring Ray Milland, is brought to you by Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
Know the real joy of good living. Isn't this what all of us want? To move up to better living, to do the things we like to do. Wherever you are, you can enjoy one of life's most refreshing pleasures, Schlitz. Quality within the reach of all. It's brewed with just the kiss of the hops. When you order beer, ask for Schlitz. Know the real joy of good living. Move up to quality. Move up to Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
It was my quiet house, all right. And I knew the girl I'd found in my bed, Ellen Amory, one of the richest heiresses in the city. And there were 3 determined men in control of the house. But I didn't like it and could hardly believe it.
I hope you will continue to be so respectful, Mr. Markham. My friend here is not a man of violence, but he can be dangerous. I would like to speak with Mr. Amory, please.
I'm Mr. Amory's secretary.
Oh, it's personal. Tell him it's a matter of life and death, as they say.
I'm afraid unless you tell me your name...
What is it, Alan?
Mr. Amory wouldn't...
I'll take that phone, Alan. Hello. Yes, this is Joseph Amory.
It's about your daughter. She's all right for the time being, Mr. Amory. But she won't be if you don't do exactly as I order.
Who is this? I don't take orders from anybody, and certainly not from strangers.
Nevertheless, 3 points. The first, if you attempt to contact the police in any way, you will never see your daughter again. I want to make that first point very clear to you. Second point, I want $500,000. A large sum, perhaps, but small enough for your daughter's life.
All right, that's quite clear. What's the third point?
You will start collecting the money first thing in the morning. Now, once again, Mr. Amory, do exactly as you have been told. Your daughter is in great danger. I will be calling again late in the day tomorrow.
Well, but how do I... Hello? Hello? Do you know where Ellen went this evening?
I heard her say she was going to the Store Club.
All right, call her there at once.
All right, outside. Where are you going?
Wash my hands.
How about those 2 guns you keep in there? Don't bother looking. We've removed them.
You think of everything, don't you?
I'm a firm believer in the old saw about discretion being the better part of valor.
I've met that girl before. She's Ellen Amory.
I know you have. You retrieved a stolen bracelet for her, sapphires, I believe, 3 months ago.
Where did you chloroform her?
What difference does it make? She's here.
But why here?
Now, you have the reputation for being imaginative, Mr. Markham. Surely you can't be losing that faculty now?
Very neat, the whole plan.
It has the merit of simplicity.
You're counting on Mr. Amory calling me again, aren't you?
Mr. Amory always avails himself of the best.
Thank you, but there must be hundreds of good private investigators in New York.
But only one of them recovered a sapphire bracelet for Miss Amory a few months ago.
He didn't sound like a crank to me. He was in deadly earnest.
But you can't let him scare you into doing nothing. That's exactly what he wants.
Well, what is there to do? What else can I do? If you were in my position, what would you do? I call the police, and Ellen is killed. No, there's nothing I can do. Absolutely nothing. Unless... Markham. Roy Markham. Wasn't that the name of the man that got back Ellen's stolen bracelet a few months ago?
Yes.
That's right. Call him for me, Ellen, please. Hurry.
Go on, answer it.
Hello? This is Roy Markham. This is Joseph Amory. I hope you recall our previous association. Yes, of course I remember you, Mr. Amory. You remember Ellen, my daughter. She's been kidnapped. Your daughter's been what? I need your help, desperately. Have you called the police?
He'll want to see you. Make him come here.
Yes, of course. I'll do anything to help. But I'm afraid to leave the phone. Word may come at any time. He wants me to go there.
Insist he come here, and he must see to it that no one follows him.
I realize that, Mr. Amory, but they may be watching your house. Don't leave in your car. Send your driver off in it first. Anywhere, cross town, any place. Then you leave by the rear door and take a cab. And make sure you're not being followed. But I'm incapacitated, Mr. Markham. It would be very difficult for me. I'm afraid I must insist on it, Mr. Emery. We do it my way or not at all. All right.
Very nicely done, Mr. Markham.
She's coming too. You mind if I talk to her first? She does know me. It might be easier for her.
And on all of us. Of course, Mr. Markham.
Has she seen you?
No, it all happened too quickly and smoothly.
I'll have to ask you to wait in there.
What for?
I'd like to save you the trouble of having to kill her. Because if she can't identify you later, you won't have to.
Well, that's very thoughtful of you, Mr. Markham. Thank you.
Ellen? Ellen? Ellen, it's Roy Markham. You remember me? You're in my house.
What am I doing here?
I'll tell you in a moment. But you must lie quietly.
Oh, everything's spinning.
Do you remember what happened?
I don't know. I dressed for dinner. I went down for my car. In the garage, suddenly there was a hand with a piece of cloth. It was against my face. Smell of chloroform. That's all I remember.
Did you see the men?
No. What did they want with me?
Now, you must try to be calm. It's your only chance to come out of this thing alive. You've been kidnapped, Ellen. And I'm being held as a hostage along with you. Now, your father will pay the kidnappers the ransom they want. And then they'll probably let you go. But only if they're sure you can't tell who they are. You see, they won't have to kill you if you're not able to identify them.
They're here?
Yes, they're here.
Then they've seen you.
There's nothing I can do about that now. Keep your face covered.
Amory's car just drew up.
Stay with the girl. Mr. Markham, come on.
Now remember, no matter what happens, keep your face covered.
Over the hall staircase. You are about to give the performance of your life, Mr. Markham. And if he needs any convincing, you convince him.
What about?
That he is to bring the money here tomorrow to you. You will offer to be his contact man. And if he doesn't follow your instructions to the letter, his daughter gets killed. Convince him of that. Remember, there'll be no room for any mistakes.
Mr. Emery? Mr. Markham. Come in. Thank you. Anyone follow you? No. Let's go in here. Sit down, Mr. Emery. This isn't easy to say, Mr. Emery. But even if you pay the money, there is no guarantee you'll get Ellen back.
Yes, I realize that. But I have no alternative. I am not going to chance going to the police. You're my only hope, Mr. Markham.
How long will it take you to raise the money?
Well, I could have it by 11. He said he'd call back later in the afternoon.
Give you no other instructions?
None.
All right. You have the money here by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. When they call you, tell them I have the money and they're to contact me. I'll deliver it for you.
Oh, but wait. If they know that I've called in someone else...
We'll have to risk it.
Risk it?
I've said there is no guarantee, Mr. Emery. You'll assure them that they'll get the money if we get the girl. That it's my responsibility to see that Ellen is returned to you unharmed.
You will take that responsibility?
Yes.
Very well. I'll have the money here by 11 o'clock. You will save her, won't you?
I'll do my very best, sir.
Oh, hi, Mr. Markham. I brought it. Good evening.
Hello. Billy, I'm busy with Mr. Emery right now. Couldn't you...
Oh, well, I'll wait in there. I got something to show you.
Good night, Mr. Markham, and thank you very much.
Good night, sir.
Oh, I fixed it for you, Mr. Markham.
Oh, that's swell. Thanks a lot, Bill. I'll drop by in the morning and pay you for the job, okay?
Oh, forget it. You've done plenty of favors for the guys at the camera club already. I want to show you this, though. I put this finder on it.
Yeah, but, Bill, look, I'm kind of busy right now. Maybe if you...
Oh, and I brought some extra flash bulbs for you. Hold it! Hold it!
I thought it was my father.
Know the real joy of good living.
Look like fun? It is. Just you two and the whole countryside is yours to enjoy.
Know the real joy of good living.
And now, to one of the most refreshing parts of good living, Schlitz. Light, delicate, so good to your taste. Brewed gently with just the kiss of the hops. Whenever you order beer, ask for Schlitz.
Know the real joy of good living. Move up to quality, move up to Schlitz.
The beer that made Milwaukee famous.
The quiet house reflected nothing that had gone on inside, of course. But Billy was dead. And murder always changes circumstances. There was no question now that these were not only clever men, they were ruthless ones. I knew that after 11 o'clock, when Emery delivered the money, Ellen and I would be dead. Quickly. And if we were lucky, painlessly. But nevertheless, dead.
Hello? Yes, it's me. Any word? How long ago? He'll probably go to a number of banks. Well, he'd better be on time.
I've got an idea. It's a wild 100 to 1 chance, but it might work. You'll have to do everything I tell you. Exactly.
wash up.
Sit down. When Amory arrives and sees me like this, you might suspect something is wrong.
All right. Go inside with her. Get some more coffee.
All right, make it snappy.
Miss Amory?
No, thank you.
Oh, have a cup of coffee. It'll prick you up. Yes? How long ago? Good. No, we'll have to bring him. Yes, I have that. Fishing boat charter number 731. Good. Yes. Yes, I understand. Okay.
Distract them.
Would you mind if I did have that coffee after all?
Pour some coffee for Miss Amory.
Oh, I can manage. Help me. I'm sorry.
Get her another cup.
No, never mind.
Take all that mess out of there.
There's a light on that painting behind me. Don't look at it. I need it. When I've got it, get up and go to the piano, stumble and bang on the keys. Make as loud a noise as you can. I have to break the bulb without breaking the filament.
What's all that whispering? There'll be no whispering, understand? If you have anything to say to one another, speak loudly. Now, Miss Amory, over there. Stand over there.
Mind if I get a book?
Go ahead. Come back and sit there. clumsy fool.
I stumbled. I just wanted to look at the music, and I tripped.
He's here. Out front. Right. Take her inside. Come on. Now remember, there's been one killing already. One false sound or move out of you and there'll be a second. And this time it will be your father. Go inside. You'll get rid of him as fast as you can. Understand? Yes. Let him in.
Here it is, Mr. Markham. It's in your hands now.
Call me the moment you hear from them.
I will.
He's got it. He brought it. Get back in the hall. Cover the front door. Look at it. Just look at it.
You stay here. When you see me reach for that light switch, turn away quickly. And just pray I didn't break the filament when I broke the bulb.
Beautiful. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000.
What's that?
What?
That wire.
Hey. Sit down. Go ahead, sit down. Don't worry about him. He won't be able to see for a week.
Who are you calling?
The police. I want to pick up the brains behind this whole scheme. There was only one person who could make sure I'd be made the patsy. You. You were the guarantee that Mr. Amory would call me. In addition, your friends made one bad mistake. One of them called out from my house this morning. I didn't get all the number that was dialed, but I got enough. He was calling here. He was calling you. It's all yours, fellas. Thanks.
Mr. Markham, I just don't know how to thank you. How shall I begin? By signing a check?
Well, actually, I was saving my own life, too, Mr. Emery.
Nor can I ever thank you or repay you, Mr. Markham. What can I say or do?
I'm sure that's by far the nicest payment I've ever received. I hope it's just an installment. One family was safe and secure again. But I couldn't help thinking of my young friend Billy, who had died so needlessly. If there's anything you can't do, it's judge people by appearances. In my business, it can be fatal. Look at this lineup. 3 men. 2 perfectly normal, 1 a dangerous criminal. Who's your bet? This fella? Bit sinister. But this soul of nobility was actually our man. It isn't always easy to tell about people. But it is easy to identify a good product. Fine beer, for instance. Thank you, Paul. He should have been a Roman. They didn't wear ties. The face of a bottle of beer is its label. It tells you at a glance everything you need to know. Its character, quality, and reputation. You don't have to be an expert. This one word, Schlitz, all the assurance you need.
Been brought to you by Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous.